All right. Chris, you ready to get started?
Absolutely.
All right. Hey, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Thank you so much for joining. My name is Kelly Gindelsberger. I'm one of our partner success managers here at Infrascale. I've got Chris Bayne on with me. Many of you have probably seen Chris Bayne on one of these webinars, or maybe you've watched one of our YouTube videos and he's been on there, or maybe he's been on a call for a technical discussion for you and your team, or given you a demo. But Chris is one of our solutions architects. We're very excited to have him here today. Chris, I'll let you introduce yourself and share a little bit about your background.
Sure. Like Kelly said, I'm one of the architects here at Infrascale. I've been doing backup, disaster recovery, failover, replication stuff for over 20 years now. I've been at a couple of large enterprise companies, and I've had a lot of experiences, including I was in New York for 9/11. So I actually not only have talked about disaster recovery, but I've actually helped 2 major companies recover from complete data center loss. So hopefully I can bring some of that experience to you guys today, and we'll have a good conversation about bare metal recovery, a little bit about the 2 different solutions we offer and how the 2 different bare metal recoveries work.
Excellent. Thanks, Chris. We'll go ahead and get started. All right. So, team, this is what we're going to be looking at today. So I realize of the partners we have on the phone here, some of you may have just had one conversation with Infrascale. You just learned who we are. Some of you might have been our partner for 10 years, and maybe we have a new offering that you don't know about. So I'm going to be doing just a quick, probably 3-minute Infrascale refresher on what we have going on over here following this slide. Then I'm going to turn it over to Chris. He is going to be doing a overview and also demo of the bare metal functionalities within Cloud Backup, or ICB. Then we're going to talk about DRaaS. So he's going to review the functionalities and show a demo of bare metal within DRaaS. So as most of you know, we have 3 products. We're going to be talking about these 2 products today and how the bare metal functionalities differ between them. So before we get to that, let's cover some just quick high-level stuff here. This is probably a refresher for many of you on the phone. So how to engage Infrascale if you've got a new opportunity. So all of you should have a partner success manager like myself, also a territory account manager, maybe someone out in the field that you've met with. If you have a new opportunity that you think would be a good fit for Infrascale, absolutely reach out to us about that. You can also just be proactive and submit a deal registration at that link there. Maybe one of my teammates can throw that link there in the chat, so that way you can bookmark it if you don't already have that bookmarked. But that's going to let us know the name, the client, how much data they're looking to protect, and really the scope of the project. That's also going to price protect you as the partner bringing it to us. So you're going to be the only partner to receive special pricing when you submit a deal registration. I do want to highlight that when your deal registration opportunity closes, we will send you, I'm going to mute out a couple people here.
I don't know how to.
Sorry about that. I had muted everyone, and I think we've had a few people join since then. Okay. We do send you an Amazon gift card of $100 once that opportunity books with us that you have put in a deal reg for. So that's always nice. I know I can absolutely go to town on Amazon.com. And then next up is the DRaaS sizing form. So this is another thing maybe we'll throw into the chat here soon. Definitely bookmark that. If you've got a DRaaS opportunity, we need to know what your client needs. So this is really crucial for Chris and Seth, our other solutions architects, to scope out that opportunity for you. All right, Chris, next slide, please. All right, so like I said, this is probably just a refresher for most of you. So these are our 3 offerings, folks. We've got Cloud Backup, very straightforward. It's our direct-to-cloud offering, license per protected terabyte per month. This is going to be for your endpoints. It's peace of mind. You've got unlimited version history in the cloud. You've got anomaly detection, helps you understand if there's potentially ransomware getting into that environment. We've also got the bare metal restore option available as well, which Chris is going to talk about here in just a few minutes. Next up is DRaaS, also licensed per protected terabyte per month. This is our appliance to cloud offering. This is going to be for your clients, critical servers and applications that would be really bad for their business if they were to go down. So this is where we're the only vendor in the marketplace that can guarantee we can boot power to any machine within 15 minutes or less. The average is just under 5 minutes. So Chris also is going to be talking about the bare metal restore capabilities and showing us how that's done within DRaaS. And then last up is our cloud application backup. So these tools that you see up there, Office 365, G Suite, etc., those tools only give your clients 30 days to recover. If anything needs to be recovered past that point, they're just kind of out of luck. This tool would give them indefinite ability to recover the files that they need. So just something to keep in mind there. All right, Chris, I'll turn it over to you.
All right, so, we talked about we have the 3 different solutions. This slide's a great way of showing you kind of, even though we have 3 different solutions, we manage them all through the Infrascale dashboard. And I'll actually be using the dashboard as part of the demo that I'm doing today, so we can take a look at that. Now we also have connections out to different ways to do different tools out there, whether you're running AutoTask or ConnectWise, we do have the ability to push out our alerting into those different ticketing and billing systems. So with that being said, let's go ahead and talk about what is BMR, bare metal recovery, and then, it's the tortoise and the hare, so why is DRaaS and bare metal recovery different? So with our DR as a service offering, we actually offer the ability to boot things up locally, boot things in the cloud, and have that instant sub 15-minute recovery that Kelly was talking about. Now with bare metal recovery, that's something it's a little bit more kind of like a legacy recovery. So you're going to do a backup, and then you're going to do a restore, but with bare metal recovery, we're saying back it up and then restore it to any other kind of hardware. So where you're typically limited to backing up and restoring to the same devices, with bare metal recovery, we could image Kelly's laptop, and if she misplaced it and we replaced it with a Dell laptop, we could boot it up off of this and then be able to recover everything, all the bookmarks, all the licensing, all the installed software, all recovered back to where it was before. So some companies actually run a mixture of our different offerings, and so I wanted to kind of highlight how bare metal recovery differs in the 2 different solutions we offer. So one is our cloud backup. So with the cloud backup, simple to do bare metal recovery. We install the bare metal agent, which in cloud backup is currently a licensed option. We configure the bare metal backups. We create the boot media that we're going to recover from. Then we boot from that boot media, and we actually do the restore. Now, when we look at the disaster recovery offering, we're going to download the standard client for DRaaS, so there's no extra bare metal client, and it's included with this product. We're going to make there's also some differences, and that's why I thought it'd be fun to do this comparison for you guys. Now, that being said, let's go ahead and jump into a demo of the bare metal backup for ICB. So here you guys can see the dashboard that we've got out here. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to come in and we're going to manage backup devices.
I'm on the call, by the way. Sorry, I was a few minutes late. This is Dan.
Hey, Dan, thank you.
So once we come in here, now we come in and not only do we install the regular client, but to upgrade it to the bare metal, we just come in here and we say install bare metal backup. So as long as you guys have the licensing for that, what that's going to do is it's actually going to push from the dashboard out to the client and install that bare metal backup utility. Now, what does that actually change? Let's go take a look at the client with the bare metal agent installed and walk through setting it up. So here we're on our client desktop. We're going to go ahead and run the online backup and utility. That's going to come up, and typically you're going to see 2 things. You're going to see file and folder. When we install bare metal backup, we're actually going to see bare metal backup as a third option. Now we're going to go in here and we're going to pick what we want to back up, and then we're going to pick where we want to back it up to. Now, I'm just backing up my C drive to my M drive. And as you can see over here, I could put in a network share, a UNC share, or something like that. We're also going to put in here when we want to do our backups, how long we want to retain those backups. We also have the object here to back it up to the cloud or not. So you don't always have to replicate those bare metal recovery backups up to the cloud. Now, once we've configured that, let's look at what it's like to create a bare metal image. So first, we've got to go out here and we've got to create our bare metal utility. So for this one, it actually uses Windows PE as the way that we do that boot. So it's going to come out here. It's going to navigate you to the Windows page to download this free utility from Windows. And you're going to install the Microsoft utility. Now with this one, you do need to install in Windows 10 the Windows PE add-on. So as long as you install both of those top ones, you're actually going to get everything that you need to run through this utility. Now, again, these are all free, so we give you the links to download them and install them. We just can't distribute Microsoft utilities, so you do have to actually get them on your own. Now, that is one of the big differences between this and the DRaaS offering, is the DR as a service. Actually, you just download the ISO and it's ready to use because it's using a Unix-based recovery. Now, as I had mentioned earlier, there's a couple good examples out there of when recovering a desktop or a laptop can be useful. We've got a couple funny stories about people around the office that have had issues. Now, if you are having any issues getting this working, you can go into the guide, and actually it's going to show you exactly what you need to download and how you need to configure this, and a link for that is right above there. So now that we've set that up, when we come in here and we click on Create ISO, it's actually going to give us the option here to create an ISO either locally, so we can create an ISO that we can put in VMware and boot from, or that we could burn out to a DVD and boot the laptop or the desktop off of. Or the other option it gives us is the option to burn it out to a USB drive. So you could just pop in a USB drive, say you want to do it to a USB drive, and it'll go ahead and write it out to a USB drive. Now that's pretty simple for getting everything set up and created. Let's actually look at where we would do a recovery and what the process is for doing a recovery for our direct-to-cloud product. So you're going to go in your BIOS, you're going to tell it to boot up off of that ISO, whether it's a USB thumb drive or a CD-ROM. It's going to load up a version of Windows, again, Windows PE, that's going to let us do this restore and recover this machine. Now again, you could do a file and folder backup and recover those files and folders, but doing it that way, you're not going to get all the applications. You're not going to get all the configurations, all the bookmarks, all the different parts that make up that machine. So it's a lot more complicated, basically, to just restore it and hand it back to your customer. Now, again, this also lets you go ahead and do a bare metal recovery from one type of system to a different one. So you don't have to replace it with the exact same hardware. So this could be used for a migration. However, it's not designed as a migration tool. Now, once this finishes coming all the way up, it's going to give us a couple of options. Now, this particular environment, I set it up for this presentation, so we've only got 2 different backup copies of the data to choose from, but typically you'd have a different image from all the ones that you would set up to be able to do those backups.
Hey, Chris, while that's running, I thought we could just address one of the questions that came through the chat. Would that be all right?
Sure.
So one question is, would it make the USB drive bootable?
Yeah, it's going to make the USB drive bootable, so that you would just stick it in, boot off the USB drive, and then the ISO image is also bootable. So you would just stick that in. That's that whole part where we've got to download that Windows lightweight operating environment. So yeah, absolutely would make it bootable for you.
Excellent, thank you. And you guys, as you have questions, feel free to just throw those in the chat.
Here we can see we've come up to the interface, so now we can pick, we want to do a bare metal recovery. So that's going to bring up the utility that's then going to run that wizard for us to do the BMR recovery. I'm just curious, in the chat, if anyone can throw in there, if you've done bare metal recoveries in the past, or is this a new concept? I'm assuming a lot of you guys have seen this, have done this before. So just let us know in the chat if it's something that you guys have worked with before. Now here we can see we're specifying where that bare metal image is recovered that we want to recover from. So again, we put it on the D drive, so we're just going to pick that, or it could have been a UNC share. Now it's going to show us, all right, here's what we've got out there. Here we can see that we've got 2 sessions, so we've got 2 restore points. Now we can go in and pick from those 2 restore points. So we've got one from the 21st and one from the 22nd. And now at the top, we could restore a single partition. So if we just wanted to restore the C drive, we could do that up here. But as we know, in today's modern booting environment, especially with EFI booting, there's going to be multiple partitions. So just restoring one of those partitions isn't going to make this machine bootable. It just might put back the data, but it's not going to give us that EFI boot and the other stuff and the Windows recovery partition that we need. So if we go back here, we can actually go look at restore several partitions, and now that's going to show us all the partitions up there and then give us the hard drive we want to restore to. Now, if we wanted to manually pick stuff, we could, but we're just going to go with the defaults and restore everything back to that drive. So here it's going to show us what the disk looks like and what we're going to restore onto it. So if we needed to make any changes, and now it's going to do that volume recovery. Now it's actually a pretty quick process because we're doing it again at the block level. So we're not going through the files and folders. So it's going to preserve all the permissions, all of the ACLs, all the stuff that make up that drive what it is. So here we can see that it's now done. And now we're just going to go ahead and click restart. And what restart's going to do is it's going to go ahead and reboot this machine. And it's going to come back into Windows. And now we've fully recovered that laptop. So that's how simple it is to do for the direct-to-cloud solution to do a bare metal recovery. With that being said, let's go ahead and jump over. And we'll take a look at doing the same thing with our DRaaS solution. So again, same outcome, but it's going to be a little bit different on the steps that we want to take to get that accomplished. So here, let's go ahead and jump over to our appliance interface. So there's one prerequisite that you want to do for the appliance. So in the other one, we wanted to install the bare metal recovery agent. But on the appliance, we want to go to a client, we look at any physical machine, and we want to make sure that we're taking a disaster recovery image backup. So what the DR image backup is doing is it's actually converting that physical machine over so that we can either boot it on our appliance or do a bare metal recovery of the full system out. Now, once we have this DR image backup, to be able to get that client, we're just going to go ahead and go out to the appliance interface. And then from the appliance interface, we'll go to the far right support tab. And then from that tab, we can actually download the ISO that we need. Now, there are 2 ISOs listed there. One of them is going to be for our bare metal recovery. And then the other one is going to be for our file and folder backup. So for the DR bare metal that we're looking at for this particular instance, we're going to be looking at that one. So you just go ahead and click on it and download it. Now, once we've downloaded it, then we're going to be able to do our bare metal recovery. So to be able to do that, we would simply, like the other one, we're going to boot up off of either the USB thumb drive or we're going to boot up off of the ISO that you've inserted into the server. And then that's going to load the restore environment. Now, as you probably noticed, there was no requirement to make anything. This ISO is ready to be downloaded and booted. You don't have to download anything or build it. Now, what this is going to do, again, it's going to boot up that Linux-based restore environment for us to be able to do the bare metal recovery. And when we say bare metal recovery, we talk about it a lot as doing a physical machine to a physical machine. You can do a bare metal recovery from a physical machine into a virtual machine. So here we can see we're in. We're going to go ahead and accept the user license agreement. We're going to pick which appliance we want to attach to. We're going to give it the password. Now we're going to pick what client we want to actually do the restore on. And then here it's going to give us some options that we can look at. We can say restore this client, what type of backup we want to do a restore from. It's going to give us the date and options that we can pick. Now I only have one option here to choose from for my last backup. And then here, it's going to tell us what storage we need, what storage the target's got. So as long as those line up, we simply hit restore. And that's going to go out and do that restore of that machine. So as we can see here, we've got the restore in process. Now I'm not going to make you guys watch the full restore. But once the restore is done, we'll go ahead and reboot the machine. And then that reboot's going to go ahead and bring it back into Windows 2016. So what I actually did use in this is I used a Windows 10 for the bare metal recovery, and then I used a Windows 2016 for the bare metal recovery for DRaaS. So here we're rebooting it, tells us to remove the installation media, hit enter, and then we're going to see Windows is going to boot right up for us, and our server is back up and running with all of its data. So it's really easy to do it based on either product. I'm going to go ahead and open this up here to see if we've got some questions around this.
Yeah, Chris, we do have a couple of questions. So,
Okay.
So first one up, so we did get some good feedback. Folks have been doing some bare metal restore, some, not all. And then one question in regards to cloud backup is this tool capable of accessing backup on the network?
Accepting backup. So yes, you can do your bare metal, you can do your BMR backups, and even your direct to cloud backups. You can do those locally. So you could put in a UNC share to a NAS or something like that and put in even different credentials if you need to and store those backups there. In fact, I typically back up locally to a NAS, my bare metal clients for my Windows machines, my laptops, my desktops, and then I use the DRaaS solution to back up the NAS to the cloud. So I don't typically even replicate my bare metal recovery images to the cloud.
Excellent, thank you. So next question, is the 15-minute recovery time standard across the board, regardless of the amount of data being recovered? So I'll let you expand on that, Chris.
So yeah, when we're talking about doing a bare metal recovery, we're talking about doing something a little bit different. So that's a standard backup and restore. So we can't guarantee how long it's going to take to do that restore. When we're talking about the 15-minute guarantee, that's going to be if you come in here and you boot up the server on our DRaaS appliance. So I can actually show you that real quick. We come in here, we go over to our boot tab, and here we can actually see all the machines that I can boot up. So for the 15-minute guarantee, you basically just come in here, you right-click on it, you tell it you want to boot it, you pick where you want to boot it from, you give it a name. So here we'll just add a demo to this one. You tell it how much RAM. Now you can preset how much RAM you want it to be in processors. I'm going to boot this one off the network, but then you just hit boot, and what it's simply going to do is spin up that virtual machine for us and then bring it online. And this is where we give you that 15-minute guarantee. So yeah, anytime we've got to backup and restore data and move large amounts of data, we can't really offer that guarantee. But since this is all staged on our appliance in a way that we can boot it, you know, it's easy for us to offer that. And typically we actually see boot times in the 2-minute to 3-minute range.
Thank you, Chris. So next question, any requirements regarding networking adapter when booting ISO on unlike bare metal, cut off server?
So most of the standard network adapters are in there. There is a way that you can inject a driver if you need to, but most of the standard ones, again, are going to be in there. So it's not really a big concern. I haven't really ran into, working with customers, any situations where we've ran into that as being a concern.
Thank you. Next question. I saw a no network option. Is that for testing?
Yeah, absolutely. So the no network option is going to be able to boot it up. So even though I'm booting it without a network, let me jump back to my demo screen. So even though I've booted it without a network, I can still click over here, and I can connect to it via VNC. So it gives me a secure connection over to it. And here we can see I can log into this machine. Say I wanted to test a patch or I wanted to test something like that. I can log in here, and I've got full access to the box to be able to do anything I want. So anyone who's using the DRaaS appliance actually gets a sandbox to be able to test configuration changes, patches, anything like that. Now, with that being said, we actually have another option that you guys didn't see here. So I'll go ahead and say we want to boot something else. Underneath there, we have Bridge Ethernet 0. So what Ethernet 0 is going to do for us, actually, let me pick a Windows machine here real quick. I want to show one. We'll pick the latest backup point. So here we'll put in a unique name for it. We'll give it some amount of RAM. And then no networks for testing. Say I want to go to Bridge Ethernet 0. If I go down here and actually look at the MAC address, I can see that what it's going to do is it's going to show me the... All right, never mind on that one. The other one is private subnet. So what private subnet's going to do for us is private subnet's going to go ahead and make it so that we can have multiple machines on the same isolated subnet. So say I had an application server and a database server, I could boot them both up on that same isolated subnet, and that way they'd be able to talk to each other without affecting our production network. So it does give us that option also. So we can go no network, we can go on your production network, and then we can also go on a private subnet. So hopefully that answered that question.
I think it did. I don't see any other questions in the chat. So if you guys have any other questions, feel free to drop them there, or you can unmute yourself there in the attendee list on the GoToMeeting. Feel free to unmute yourself and you can ask your question. But Chris, this has been a really great demo. We certainly appreciate it. Great information.